what I've done is I've cut as close to perfect as I can get it. Is this cube. Alright, the cube is 5 inches. It's dead on 5 inches on nearly every dimension. Across corner to corner, it's 7 inches. And the way I did this, I had a great big old piece of center cut walnut, and I basically cut it down into a rough square, and I run it through my joiner. I got 2 square faces, and then I just did the rest on the bandsaw. And you know, basically you get as you run the side through the bandsaw, and then you run the next side through the bandsaw, and then the third side through the bandsaw, and then you set it to your final dimension, and then you run the other 3. Your bandsaw has to be tuned up very well to do this. It's a very thick piece of wood, and you have to go kind of slow to get it, but you'll get it. All right, let's get to turning this thing. Okay, I started out. I took the little pin out of the middle of my little revolving center here. It goes in there like that. It just pops out. There's a set screw. You take the set screw out, this thing just pops out. Put it in my tailstock, and that's what I use to get everything lined up. Okay, to start out, this is just going to be a friction turn. You can see right here, all I have is my spindle. I've got the corner stuck up in the spindle, and down here, the hollowed out part of my revolving center, I took the pin out. So now here we're ready to turn this thing. So what I've done to make sure I'm square, let me see if you can see that mark. I've got a mark right there on my tool rest, and as each corner comes around, they touch that mark. Each one of them touches the mark. So I know I'm square. So to start out with, I'm going to turn a tenon down on this end down here so I can get my jaws in. And I'll get started with that right now. Okay, let's get our tool rest set. Make sure, now this is kind of a weird thing here. You need to make sure that you turn this thing on your lathe to make sure it doesn't hit your tool rest. The good thing is this is all just friction holding all this on, and you know it'll end up just spinning. But anyway, to keep from damaging your corners and all that, make sure you check this. Okay, well, I guess I'm ready to get started turning this thing. Now what I want is about a little over 1.5 inches, maybe 1 3/4 inches, and I'll use this right here to size my tenon. But I'm going to try to cut a tenon down on this end right here. Respin that, make sure. Should spin pretty good. And what I'm going to do is just start cutting. Okay, now that I've got it mounted on my chuck, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start shaping it. I'll shape it, you know, just like a bowl. I'm going to start on these far corners to make my bowl a little bit taller. The ones I've seen done on YouTube, I believe they went to these inside corners and shaped it. Very pretty. but what I want to do is put a lid in it. So I want a little bit extra depth in here. So I'm going to come from these corners down, trying to shape a bowl. So let's see what we can get. I'm going to speed my lathe up and try to shape the outside of this bowl. Alright, let's speed it up. I may not come all the way up yet. Okay, one thing I realized while I was turning this thing, I had it mounted on this tenon right here, and basically I was cutting downhill. I'm getting a lot of chatter, a lot of tear out, stuff like that. Really don't want. So I turned another tenon on the other side so I could spin it around. Now I can cut uphill, I believe, a lot more efficiently and a lot more easily too. So I put my little thing back in the. I put my little pin back in my revolving center. So now, let me get ready to, I'll center it up. It looks to be, it's running pretty true, but I'll double check it. I'll just double check it, and the way I'll do that is the same way that I did before. I'll move this up. I'll make me a mark right here on my tool rest. And just make sure that these things, that all three corners are hitting that mark. And they are, so I'm still good. So all I've really done is turn it around. That's all I've really done. But now if you notice, I'm getting up very close to these corners. I don't want to take these corners off. I'm hoping that I don't end up accidentally taking them off. But we're gonna shape on this some more. Get a lot of chatter. It's a lot better than it was. Okay, let's see what we got here. That corner. Oh yes. Nice and sharp corners. Okay. Starting to get a good shape on this thing. I've still got a little bit of flat spots I got to take off, but it's really starting to look nice. And oh, I can't wait to see this. I think it's going to be really pretty. I'm going to come back and make some finishing cuts. see if I got the okay, I think I'm good. Okay, now I'll just do a little shear scraping, kind of shape this thing up a little bit more. Well, first of all, I'm going to change the profile of the bottom just a touch. Try to get the outside ready to finish. Very careful around these corners. Because I did change where the bottom is. The bottom's going to be right about there. I'm just going to sand through all of this up to about 400 grit, maybe 600, and I'll be back once that's done. I'm going to put a finish on it. Okay, I'm just finishing up my 400 grit. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and finish the outside. Alright. Okay, just kind of wipe it off. Get rid of that paper towel. Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and I'm going to use the finish that I normally use on cutting boards and things of that nature. It's this Howard Feed and Wax wood polish and conditioner. It's orange oil and some carnauba wax, beeswax. Yeah, beeswax and orange oil. That's what it is. But it's really easy to apply. Just get some on a paper towel and wipe it on. The oils in it really brings out the color in that walnut. So you want to kind of work it in a little bit. You know, go do circles, get it worked in really well. And it says to wait about 20 minutes between coats. I guess that's for the orange oil to kind of cure. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get all my coats applied, and I'll be back when I get ready to buff. Do my final buffing. Okay? Alright. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, well, I got me a nice clean paper towel, and I'm fixing to try to buff this thing a little bit. Try to heat it up a little bit. Keep everything kind of flowing. Oh yeah. Have to do a little bit more buffing. Maybe it wasn't completely cured yet. But anyway, I think it's going to look nice. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to get this thing turned around, and I'll be right back. Okay, before I actually turn that thing around I marked this hole right here with my skew so I can always bring my tailstock back up. Now, it's very important that you get it back dead center. And I even went as far as to go back here and put another mark on my tool rest to make sure that all of these hit the same place again. Because if it doesn't hit, if they don't all hit the same, because you can actually get it off a little bit on your chuck, and it just messed the whole thing up. So that's just the way I double check. I'm gonna start hollowing this thing out now, or removing all this excess out here, and I'm gonna start kind of hollowing a little bit and kind of shaping the top, and then I'll start hollowing out the inside. So here we go. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm looking for the dose image right here. You can see all these corners coming around. And what I want to do is just kind of follow this edge all the way from one side to the other. And once I get this shaped all the way down in here, then I'm going to start shaping on the top. But I can see this ghost image right here, and I'm just trying to follow it. You don't want to knock the corner off now. And as you get further along, this will start getting weaker and weaker. You have to be very careful to keep it. As you're going, you're having to finish cut at the same time. So I've got to thin this on down just a little bit, but I'm not going much more. Matter of fact, I may not go any more on the points. Alright, well, I'll be back once I get this top stuff all gone. I'll be right back when I start the hollowing. Okay, well, if you're wondering what all that racket is, it's raining. And it's supposed to be 100% today, so I don't know, it's pretty loud out here. I'm going to keep trying to do the video. I may end up having to mute out this last half and try to do some kind of voiceover or something like that. I'm just going to proceed on. You may get to see the video, you may not. I may end up having to do another one. But I'm not going to stop working on the project just because it's raining. So, here we go. Where I'm at so far is I went ahead and basically I've got everything roughed out the way I want it. Now I'm going to come back. I've got it finished as close as I can with the bowl gouge and my scraper and all. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to start my sanding. I'm going to do it just like I did the wing box. Oh yeah, if you're wondering what this stuff is, you see this crack, well that crack's going to be gone. But what I've done is I had cracks here. I took medium CA and I just lined along the crack and sanded it. It ruins your sandpaper, but it moves all that sawdust right into the cracks and it hardens it up. That's really smooth now. So anyway, I'm just going to keep on sanding. I've got 100 grit, I think 1 piece of grit, and all I'm doing is as I sand, you can see the grain. running this way and that way. I'm just trying to sand with the grain. I'm not looking to really get it all final sanded, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and sand all these wings at least to about a 220 before I start hollowing out. And I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I'm getting ready. I've got the outside of my lid marked. It's going to be about a 3-inch lid. So anyway, I flattened this out here. It's all going to be gone anyway. And now I'm just got to figure out my depth. So what I do is I take this little tool here, I loosen the screw up and lay it right across this flat spot. As I lay it across there, then I can adjust this in and out until I'm lining up on the back side back here until I get the depth that I want. Then I tighten the screw down. Okay, that's my depth. Now I can just take my drill bit, lay it in here, and mark it. Just like that. Okay? So now I know how deep to drill to get my depth. And I can always double check it with this too as I go, just to make sure. But I don't know if I'm going to need a pilot hole or not to get this thing started. I probably will. Yeah, I'm going to have to start it with my gouge. Well, let's see how we do. Slow it down a little bit. Find my mark. There it is. You start pushing your way in. As you get closer to your depth, right there, that should be my full depth. I reach my mark, so I should be about a 1/4 inch from the very bottom. That's a neat little tool right there. Okay, now I can just start my hollowing, but what I want to do is I want to go ahead and start getting it flat across here first. But I'm not going to go all the way to my line. Okay, I'm going to move you around so maybe you can see some of the hollowing. I'm going to start this like a bowl. I'm going to start hollowing on the inside. Now, of course, I could have done this with a Forstner bit. It's a little bit too much. deep enough. A little bit out over my tool rest, but making full cuts off the bottom. Until I get to my depth. Once I get to my depth, I'll come in with this homemade tool here. It's one of the little carbide cutters from Woodcraft. Very sharp, but I can kind of get in up under that and finish cleaning up the inside. Just like so. I can just get in there and clean. And I'll be back in a few minutes as I continue hollowing. Okay, well now the rain slacked off a little bit. So what I've done so far is I've gone ahead and sanded and did all that up to about 400 grit. I've got the inside hollowed out, and you saw I drilled into my depth, and I took my bowl gouge, and actually I cut out with pull cuts all the way down into the bottom and over to about the size of my hole here. It's about a 3-inch hole. Then I took my scraper, my little round nose scraper, and I came in and started shaping up the very bottom and getting it all smoothed out. And I ended up with my carbide tool to come in here to get around the edges, around this top edge here and down in this area. So and doing very light scraping cuts at the end. It's very, very smooth in there. It's about 1/8 inch thick, maybe a little bit more, maybe up to 1/4. But well, let's see. Yeah, it's about 1/4. Okay. And you can take it down thinner if you want to. I'm going mainly for looks. I'm not worried about it being super thin and all of that. So I've cut a rabbet here after I finished my sanding. So now I'm going to make a lid of maple to go in here, and I'm going to put a little walnut finial on the top. So I guess I'll get started on that.